Hello, my name is Jax, and welcome to Sonic Satellite. Together, we're going to go on a journey throughout the history of Sonic by playing all of the games, looking at the comics, TV shows, and movies. It's going to be a lot, but it's also going to be a lot of fun. Today, we're going to be starting off this journey with Sonic Origins, and of course, Sonic the Hedgehog 1. Now, Sonic Origins is a collection of the original classic Sega Genesis Sonic the Hedgehog games, going from Sonic 1 all the way to Sonic 3 and Knuckles. They are enhanced in the brand new Anniversary mode with 16:9 aspect ratio. You can use the spin dash and the drop dash from Sonic Mania. They've got this really cool map screen, a whole bunch of bonus features, and one of my favorite things, animated cutscenes in story mode. Yes, that's right, fully animated cutscenes, which are a really nice addition to this game, and those play when you're playing through the game's story mode. Now, story mode is pretty much the same as just playing through the games on Anniversary mode. It just lines them all up together so you kind of go through them all at once in a sort of marathon. Now, here we are in Green Hill Zone Act 1, the quintessential classic Sonic the Hedgehog stage, and a stage that you're going to see a lot more of over the years because Sonic Team likes to remix this stage a lot. It's pretty fast, it's pretty fun, and it's pretty fast because we're already finished with it. Like I said, we do have the drop dash from Sonic Mania and the spin dash from Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and since we had 50 rings at the end of the stage, we get to go through this special ring and try our hands at getting a Chaos Emerald. So with these special stages, they rotate automatically. The up and down bumpers will change the speed of the rotation, and the R bumpers will change the rotation from clockwise to counterclockwise. Once you find the Chaos Emerald, you have to just touch these diamonds enough times, and eventually they will disappear. And after that, it's as simple as jumping into the Chaos Emerald. Sonic 1's special stages aren't really super difficult. Later Sega Genesis games have way harder special stages. Right there you saw that I earned 3 coins, which if you've played the original Sega Genesis version of Sonic the Hedgehog 1, you may be wondering why are we getting coins instead of extra lives or continues or something like that, and well, in the anniversary editions of the classic Sonic games, you actually don't lose any lives or continues. You don't get game overs in this mode. You can die as many times as you want to, and you'll just keep coming back over and over again. So this is a really nice version of the game to play if you're maybe not that great at platformers, or if you're new to platformers, or if you have little kids and they want to play some Sonic the Hedgehog. It's a really easy way for kids to play these games, because I remember when I was a kid, this game was really hard for me. Actually, the first time I played this was when I was a teenager, maybe around the age of 13, because I grew up on stuff like Sonic Advance and Sonic Heroes and whatnot, so I didn't really discover the classic games until a good bit into my childhood there. But even at the age of 13, this game was pretty difficult, especially when you get to the later stages. I'd say this is, now I consider it the easiest of the classic games, or at least one of the easiest of the classic games. I could easily beat this game without dying. And in fact, there is an achievement for beating this game without dying that was featured in the Sega Vintage Collection version of this game. Unfortunately, though, when this game was released, Sega decided to delist the Vintage Collection version, so you can't get that one anymore. But hey, this is a pretty good one still. Yeah, this is a pretty good version. I like this one. I like the classic mode that it has. I like the anniversary mode that it has. I was very happy with this collection when it came out. Got ourselves a nice and powerful invincibility power up here, with great music to boot. And see right there, that spin dash? Yeah, normally you'd have to get some momentum and then roll into a ball in order to break through that wall, but you can just spin dash it. So having the spin dash in Sonic 1 does allow you to do things a lot easier. I consider the spin dash more of a quality of life update, because one of the things in Sonic 1 that made it fun and a little more challenging was having to control your momentum, whereas in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and of course the later Sonic games like Sonic CD, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, you could just spin dash to gain speed pretty much instantly. So here we have the first Dr. Robotnik fight with the Egg Wrecker. Notice how I said Dr. Robotnik there, because in the West he was always called Dr. Robotnik and referred to as Dr. Eggman in Japan. But eventually they kind of merged the two cultures of Eggman naming, and his real name is Dr. Ivo Robotnik canonically, but he refers to himself and everybody else refers to him as Eggman, sort of as a nickname. They pretty much explain it to where Sonic made fun of him by calling him Dr. Eggman, and eventually he just kind of took ownership of that name and started calling himself Eggman too. Anyway, that boss is over with, and we can move on into Marble Zone Act 1, which to me has always looked a lot like Altered Beast. This just always looks like the first level of Altered Beast to me, which is another really fun game on the Sega Genesis. People don't necessarily like Marble Zone all that much. It's definitely a lot slower than Green Hill Zone. There's a lot of areas where you have to stop and jump and platform and be really, really careful. Whereas in Green Hill Zone, you can pretty much run at top speed and you'll mostly be okay. Gotta watch out for these things right here. They might crush you. I always like the sort of glassy effect that they have there. And yeah, you have to push this block. And in fact, I think this is the only stage where you have to push blocks. I think every other one, you don't have to push blocks or do anything like that. So people often think of this as more of the puzzle solving stage for Sonic the Hedgehog 1. There's these blocks falling from the sky here. Gotta watch out for these crushers, yeah. But yeah, I like Marble Zone well enough. I really like the little fire torch effects in the background. The backgrounds of this game are really, really great. One of my favorite things about the 16-bit era is how they had just these really, really cool backgrounds. Even when you look at the skyline and you see how the clouds are scrolling by, it looks really, really cool. And right there, actually, you can see that when I jumped for the special stage ring, there were a bunch of points that popped up, and that's just because if you jump at a certain angle, you can get extra points that are sort of invisible, and it's not necessarily super useful now, but in the Genesis version, it is way more useful because, like I said, if you're new to that game, it's pretty hard. Not that hard, but it's pretty difficult. The final area can eat a bunch of your lives up. And, you know, I've never really known what's going on in the background of these stages. Like, what's up with the fish and the bubbles and the birds? And I just don't get it. I mean, like, I really try to, like, understand. Like, I mean, just why? I mean, okay, so there's birds in the sky. Then there's fish. I'm assuming underwater because there's bubbles. But what does this mean? What does it all mean? What is it for? I just don't know. Anyway, there goes our third Chaos Emerald. Chaos Emeralds in this game are pretty easy. I think that of the classic Sonic games, the only ones that I really struggle with Sonic 2's special stages are pretty hard. But Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles, those special stages are excruciating for me. As you'll see when we get to that game. Yeah, I have a lot of trouble with those special stages. But actually, and this is something that you're probably not going to see here because I can pretty much do all of these special stages without failing. But if you do fail at a special stage while playing in Anniversary mode, you can spend some of your coins that you've collected to retry the special stage on the spot, which is really, really useful for me. When I was playing through Sonic 3 and Knuckles, it was super useful for me because I was able to get all of the Chaos Emeralds for the first time ever because I'm so bad at those special stages. But I was able to finally get the Chaos Emeralds by using the coins, and I believe I was able to unlock Supersonic and Hypersonic. Yeah, we all know about Supersonic. That's a given. That's pretty common Sonic the Hedgehog knowledge. But Hypersonic, that's one that doesn't necessarily get nearly as much exposure. But we'll get to that. We'll get to it, yeah. Right there, you can see I took a little shortcut. Normally, you'd have to wait on that platform, ride it all the way through, but you can actually jump over. So like I said, you know, Marble Zone's not that bad. It's slow. It's definitely It's definitely slow. It's not snow. In fact, there's no snowy area in Sonic the Hedgehog 1. That won't happen until Sonic 3 when we get to Ice Cap. But it's slower for sure. And right here, you can actually hit all of these blocks and get a ton of points. Oh, but I messed up. I missed one. I missed the line of blocks. Oh, well. Oh, well. I don't hate Marble Zone. It's definitely probably my least favorite zone, or one of my least favorite zones. There is, of course, the notorious Labyrinth Zone, but I do like Labyrinth Zone more because I really like the stage theme for Labyrinth Zone. So I can't say that I hate that zone too much because the stage theme is just so catchy. Now, Labyrinth Zone in the 8-bit version of Sonic the Hedgehog 1, that zone sucks. That zone is a major drag. Unfortunately, I got hit and I only had 38 rings at the end of the level, so I didn't get a special stage. Oh no. Will I get all the Chaos Emeralds? Who knows? By the way, there's only 6 Chaos Emeralds in this game. In Sonic 2 and every Sonic game after this one that features Chaos Emeralds, there is always 7. There's always 7 Chaos Emeralds in the later games. But this one here, there was only 6. The 7th Chaos Emerald missed his bus and had to walk a couple blocks to the train, so he's running behind. But we'll see him. We'll see him in the next Sonic game. Well, not really, because the next Sonic game after this one is Sonic CD. But we'll see him in Sonic 2. Don't you worry about that. But yeah, since there's only 6 Chaos Emeralds in Sonic the Hedgehog 1, that means that there's no Supersonic. Because if you know anything about Sonic, you know that you need all 7 Chaos Emeralds to transform into Supersonic. And you don't have those, and you don't have nothing. Right there, that box, normally in classic mode, that box would contain a 1-up. But right here, it just gives you some extra coins. Also, when you collect 100 rings, normally you get a 1-up, but yeah, right here you just get an extra coin. I have 781 coins, by the way, because, you know, after you've used your coins to buy everything in the collection room, because you can use the coins to buy artwork and music and, you know, all sorts of things like that. But once you've used the coins to do all that stuff, there's really nothing else that you need them for. They just kind of accumulate over time, and, you know, I don't know. I mean, like, what can you do? I mean, you just become rich, I guess. Sonic just has a bunch of coins now. So that's cool. If you've noticed, every time you beat an enemy, a little animal pops up. And for the uninitiated, that's because Dr. Robotnik powers his machines with tiny animals. He powers his badniks with tiny animals. Isn't that just wrong? Doesn't that just make you sad? Yeah. Sucks. Dr. Eggman's not a good person. He's not. He's a bad guy. I mean, I love Dr. Robotnik, but he's a bad person. He puts animals in robots. Nobody likes that. Here we go with the next boss, the Egg Scorcher. He's gonna scorch you unless you jump to the other platform while still avoiding the fireballs in the center. And he's pretty easy to... Oh no, I got hit. He's a pretty easy boss to defeat there. In fact, all of the bosses in Sonic 1 are pretty easy to beat, except for, I'd say, the last one. And maybe Labyrinth Zone. But there you go. Marble Zone is completed. We are finished with Marble Zone, and we're finished with this episode of Sonic Origins. We'll catch you next time as we go into Spring Yard Zone. Until then.